Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today is going to be another lesson in insanity. Realistically, it's going to be a lesson in reality. Now, over the last 24 hours, we have seen some changes in the Pentagon. We have seen the Secretary of War fire and or ask for the resignation of the Army Chief of Staff. We've seen that occur. Essentially, the head of the U.S. military was forced or asked to resign, which he did. Now, I am not saying that that individual was as politicized as some. But I also believe that part of what is happening now in the war between the United States, Iran, and Israel may have something to do with this as well. But we cannot escape the fact, we cannot deny the fact that the military has been incredibly politicized during the Biden administration. Not only during the Biden administration, this also occurred during the Obama administration. So you got to understand, over the course of 8 years, plus another 4 years under Biden, which was following the same track as what was happening with the politicizing of the federal government and the U.S. military under the Obama administration. The 4 years in which Trump was president, we did not see anything near the politicalization of the military and the federal government and the appointment of judges that we did during, again, Obama and Biden. The policies that were being put into place inside the military, especially during the Biden administration, was just off the chart. It was absolutely incredible. And normally, under prior changes to presidential administrations, that was curtailed. But when Obama was elected the second time, and then finally Biden coming into power, that's where things really came off the rails. And again, the whole concept of this, if you look at the Obama administration, if you look at the Biden administration, everything that they were doing was designed to weaken the U.S. military from the inside out. Now look, is the United States a democracy? Sort of. The United States is a constitutional republic, officially. This experiment, this endeavor for the United States was never meant to be a raw, unclean, wisdom of the crowds democracy. It was rule of law. And that has changed significantly within the last 4 years. And especially some of the things that occurred during the Obama administration. Incredibly concerning things that have happened inside the United States, really designed to weaken the United States So let me show you a picture here real quick. What do you see here? Now, I don't know what the flag says, but obviously you can see the flag, and then on the shirt of this person, I don't know if this is a male or a female. Who knows at this point? Proud parent of a trans kid. Proud parent of a trans kid. Now, let's go back to, let's say, the 1950s, right? In the 1950s, there were probably just a few hundred known cases of quote-unquote transvestites. A few hundred cases. And again, most of those were kind of hidden in obscurity. The whole concept of allowing these individuals into the military was unthinkable. The percentages, again, going back to the 1950s, was something like 0.00 something percent. It was such a minute fraction of society, it wasn't even essentially countable. Fast forward to today, in this contagion, this social media contagion that has taken place in the United States. Right now, about 23% of the population 30 years of age and below identify as either homosexual, bisexual, or a transvestite. They're suffering serious psychiatric illness. And yes, under the Biden administration, those individuals were allowed into the military. Not only that, the higher-ranking military officers oftentimes had to become a chameleon. If they wanted to promote, they had to let the political leadership know that they were aligned with those politics. They were okay with bringing these people here that you see on board. So again, do you believe this strengthens the military, or do you think this weakens the military? I know for a fact it weakens the military. It not only weakens the military, it weakens the fabric of the United States. This is a mental illness, a serious mental illness that needs to be contained. And guys, and gals, this is the platform. Supporting this right here, which you see on the screen, is the party platform. Why is that? Well, I believe that the Democratic Party has been taken over by anti-United States forces and adversarial forces against the United States, or products of individuals that were born in the 60s and the 70s that lived through that era that is simply anti-capitalist and anti-American at heart. Period. They do not like this country and would like to see it fall. And the problem with a raw, unclean, wisdom of the crown's democracy, if you have 100 people and 51 of those people decides that they would like to commit suicide and direct that upon the other 49 people as well, that's what can happen. And that's why I believe we as the United States may need to pause the unclean, raw democracy. You cannot let 51 people dictate to the other 49 that they have to kill themselves. This is what this person is doing. This person you see on the screen right here seeks to destroy society. Do they understand what they're doing? I think so in some cases. In some cases, they're in such psychosis that it doesn't matter. Because right now they are living in this protective bubble that allows them to do this. So weaken society, destroy society from within. And then second piece, allow anyone into the country. And then look, most of these people would become reliant upon the government, either state or federal government, to provide them support. And if the Democrats control the government and are providing the support, and 51% of the population requires the support of the federal or state government, who do you think they're going to vote into power? Well, wait a minute, you say these people can't vote. Well, that's going to change. Maybe not initially they will be able to vote, but they will change congressional districts through census data. That's going to happen, and that does happen and has happened. And then eventually, yes, they will vote. Eventually, in 10 years, these individuals will believe themselves citizens of the United States. They're not, and they were never citizens. They will reproduce, they will have children, and I've seen this firsthand. These children instantly become citizens. And yes, they tend to gravitate towards one specific political party. The one that wants to destroy the country. Now look, this isn't just me saying this. This is their platform right here. 2024 Democratic Party platform. This is it. They are telling you exactly what they're going to do if you read this document. It's very important to understand what your enemy is doing. And make no mistake. The Democratic Party is an enemy of the United States. It is now. Was that the case always? No, it wasn't. Is it now? Yes, absolutely. Read what they have to say. Read what they want to do. Let's go through this real quick. Now here are the what I was referring to in terms of the agenda of the trans individuals and LGBTQI+, right? There it is. It's in their official platform. And not only just one page, 2 pages. And look at the Trump psychosis here. Trump is running on an extreme plan. An extreme plan here. Extreme plan, right? This is an extreme. Proud parent of a trans kid. Trump is running on an extreme plan to punish doctors who treat transgender youth and to ban gender-affirming care. Again, Trump is running on an extreme plan to punish doctors who treat. So what does that mean? What this essentially means right here is the Trump administration is saying, hey, let's put the brakes on, as is being done in the European Union right now. The brakes are being applied. And what are they putting the brakes on? Where a child, 15, 16 years of age, who is suffering from serious mental illness, and not just the whole concept of his or hers gender, they're suffering from other issues as well. Serious issues, serious psychological issues. And what he's putting the brakes on is just simply saying, hey, you can't cut this child's breast off because she's going through a rough period in her life. And what we're finding out now is that many of these kids, once they become adults, are now going back and suing these doctors. It's happening. But this stuff is just absolute insanity. Again, so insane that they're hitting the pause button in Europe on this. They're saying, no, you can't do this. And this is now part of the Democrat Party platform. They want this stuff to occur. And again, 1950, just a handful of this nonsensical psychosis was occurring. Now look, they're mentally ill. They need help. But what's happening now is these individuals are being put at the forefront of the mainstream. And what was insanity, it's the Overton window. So what was insane and unthinkable is now policy. This is the Democrat Party policy to mutilate children. It's policy. It's what they do. And they're telling you they're going to do it in their platform. Right here. Look, he signed an executive order recommitting the federal government to guarantee educational environments free from sex discrimination, including on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. He signed an historic executive order to address discriminatory legislative attacks against LGBTQI plus children and families. Now these are word plays on this, right? What this actually means is they are setting up indoctrination centers to convert children. This ideology is incredibly contagious, and more importantly, it's being used through social media and the educational system in the United States to propagate this insanity. It's part of their platform. Read it. Go back to one other piece of this here. Racial. Now, when you see racial in this other word, right, most people will see equality. That is not what that says. That is equity, racial equity. And you will see this this word that was normally used in terms of equality transformed to equity. What's the difference? What does this mean? What is equity? How is that different than equality? Well, equality simply means a level playing field. A level playing field. Two people go for a position. The basis of their race cannot be used to disqualify them. Equity is the government, the Democrat Party, redistributing wealth through forced programs that create a unlevel playing field. It uses race as the basis of their party line. It is part of their policy. That's what they're doing. Now remember, this contagion, this policy that you're seeing right here in their party platform was used to select military officers. It was implemented in the training programs, in the officer training programs. It has been implemented, or was implemented, and before the current Secretary of War had it eliminated from U.S. services. So as a soldier, airman, seaman, you were required, once you entered basic training and then you arrived at your permanent duty station, even in advanced training, if it wasn't a type of OSET training, you were required to undergo this Democrat indoctrination of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Again, part of the Democrat Party's platform, DEI. And to say that it's not part of that political party's platform, hence the indoctrination of the U.S. Armed Services into this political party's orthodoxy, that is what was happening. And yes, many of these generals and these higher-ranking officers that were propagating either A, because they were true believers, they believe in this insanity, or B, they were operating as chameleons just with the intent of trying to get promoted. Now, did they believe in this nonsense? Maybe, maybe not. But nonetheless, they are guilty of propagating this insanity. And it's coming to a stop. And that's what you're seeing right now. I don't think many people get into the Democrat Party platform and look at what exactly they would like to do to the United States, what they would like to do to the Constitution, to your right to protect yourself and defend your home and your family. They want to take that away. Now, again, proof in the pudding is right here. This is it. This is insanity. This nut job right here is ending its line, essentially. And he or she is okay with that. I'm not. They are. But again, this is where if 51 people, and you live in a group of 100 people, if 51 people, for whatever reason, through mental illness or manipulation, decide to commit mass suicide, should you have to be part of that? And the answer is no. And if you are existing in a raw, unfiltered democracy where there's no photo needed to vote, well, you have a problem. If you're those 49 people and the other 51 people decide to commit mass suicide. Well, how do you escape that from happening to you? Well, you have to pause. You have to hit the pause button and declare that you're not going to play by those rules. You're not going to accept that outcome. So under those conditions, I think a large segment of U.S. society should prepare themselves to hit the pause button on a raw, unclean, unfiltered democracy. You have to do it. And you have to say, no, we're not going to accept this. We're not going to commit mass suicide. We're not going to be part of it. So how does this end? Where do we go? Again, I do believe we are looking at a very challenging future. But ultimately, in order to save the constitutional republic, we may have to hit the pause button. And I've talked about this before. Again, if you don't believe in this, if you don't believe in this, then you'll have to act. You will. You absolutely will. Read it and remember the word plays. The word plays are crucial. What they say is oftentimes exactly what they mean, but it's going to read differently for you. Understand the word plays. It's an absolute must. Equity. Well, look, that does it for today. More to come very, very soon. As always, have a good day.